All right, we're here. Hello, everyone. Ashley and I are in the house, the galactic sisters, so to speak, goddesses, travelers, whatever we want to call ourselves. We are in the house. So thank you for being here. And sorry we're a little bit late. Those things happen when you're in the galactic, when you're outside the planet doing stuff.
And sometimes inside the planet when we're doing stuff.
On the planet, yeah, really. Time just doesn't doesn't count. But we got lots to talk about. Happy Lionsgate, everyone. Hey, Ashley,
Hi.
how are you?
I'm good. I'm
Good.
fabulous and
Yay.
happy that we're here in the Lionsgate, and also happy to be getting blasted by all of these energies.
Totally,
Happy.
totally. Yes, yes. They do feel good. It's yes, and what I've been understanding and feeling definitely through this portal, within this portal that's been happening for a few days now. Today's the apparently the center of it, the crux of it, that things seem to manifest very quickly within this portal. And so it's important, and I put this out earlier, it's important to take heed of our thoughts, because what we what we focus on will manifest very quickly. So make sure that we are thinking good thoughts, that kind of thing, and what we want to how we want to present ourselves to the world. Not only that, but what we want our future to be. Yeah, makes sense, Ashley.
Sorry, I'm muted. Sorry, I was going around trying to post links places.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
yes, it is absolutely a time for manifestation, for solar energies, and to come into alignment with a lot of the energies that are going on. So it's also a good reminder to remember that we are between the solstice, right, and then the ring of fire eclipses that are coming in October. And so it's a good time to sort of, we can call it a midway point, whether it's exactly a midway point or not, it doesn't matter. But we can really sort of tune in to and take advantage of a lot of these solar energies. And I feel like there's also been a lot of cosmic waves and a lot of other information that's been coming in. So,
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So if things feel intense, uh, well, there's a reason for it. Obviously, there's a lot of energy coming in. Definitely, I'm finding, and I say this a lot, that on these shows, that when I mention something or think about something happening, it seems to happen rather quickly. It manifests in my life somehow, if that makes sense. I wonder if this, or talking about something happening, then I get confirmation about it, or it happens, or that type of thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I
Okay.
think that's awesome that you've co-created, or that you're able to co-create in that way, so that we all know what is possible. And
Hmm.
I hope that a lot of people that tune into this or listen to this later can sort of allow themselves to see that they are also doing, or who the listener, right, is also doing this. I think
Right.
sometimes we can be really hard on ourselves, and mm, due to that sort of critical mind or critical voice inside of us, we're not really noticing that we are really co-creating. And sometimes we're co-creating. I think we also have to take responsibilities for the things that we're co-creating that we don't necessarily want.
Exactly. That's what Ho'oponopono is all about. We like
Mhm.
to take credit for the good, but we forget that we're also co-creating the what we consider the not so good, or the bad, or the negative stuff. Yeah. So it's it's all about taking responsibility for what we're bringing to us, what our thoughts are bringing, and our action. Well, thoughts lead to actions. thoughts lead to words, words lead to actions, that kind of thing. So
Mm-hmm.
it's yeah, it's exciting times. It's really exciting times because when you notice these things and you listen to your background tape or your thoughts, your words, and you notice what's going on around you, then we become so aware, so much more aware of how we do manifest and how we can create our world a lot easier than we think we can, because we're doing it every day. Every moment is a choice to create. And it's really exciting because you see, as we move up in frequency and trust the universe and trust ourselves, and move into that space that everything's going to be all right, and that we're here for really important reasons, or we wouldn't be here. Then when we move up, I've noticed that when we move up in our frequency, it helps us move. That helps us move up in frequency, and then as we move up higher in frequency, or move in, whichever we want, want to look at it, then things create quicker. We co-create faster, quicker. Yeah.
Do you have like a co-creation or a manifestation practice that you use, or some kind of practice that you regularly do or use that you want to share? Or is it
A
tough?
practice that I use, well, it's kind of, I've gotten to where it's just basically a normal way of walking through my day, I guess you could say. And I make sure that I'm focusing on the life that I want to lead and the life that I want to be in that space. Anything that I want to create, I write down. I'm really good about writing things down, and making sure that I'm bringing what I want in life, because I don't focus on what I don't want. I focus on what I do want in life, what I want to create, like with my business or my life, or anything that's pleasurable in my life or anything like that. I mean, it doesn't mean we're not going to have challenges along the way, but I make sure that I focus on how I want my life to be, in a positive, moving on in a positive pace, going down that positive path. And I write it down. This is what I want to manifest. This is what I want to co-create. And then I'm always talking to my team, hey, bring this to me however you can, and we'll work on this together. I'll work on it with you. I'll do my part here. As much as I can, and then leave it up to my team to make this happen too, because that's the co-creation. So it's a constant thing with me. It's just constant. It's just a way of life, basically.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. I understand.
It's not a ritual. I used to do rituals, which were cool, not full, but cool. I loved it. It was fun, not foolish. It wasn't foolish, but but it taught me how to trust that conduit, and know that we're constantly doing this anyway. And it's and when you have fun with it, and you're not so restricted, that kind of thing, it happens a lot easier, I find. What about you, Ashley? It's a good question.
What I've been noticing recently is, well, not so much recently, but I find that when I say it out loud, not just to myself, but other people, like not just anybody, but other people, and say like something simple, like I want to go to this retreat this weekend, but I'm on the wait list. And I also include in that intention that the people that drop out aren't dropping out because something bad is happening, but because something really amazing happens in their life that then means that they can't go, so that then I can go to this retreat. And then I might tell a couple of other people that are in it. So they're like, yeah, we really want you to come. And then we're like, let's like manifest it, because I find that there is a power in a group. And so even if it has to do with maybe your business or yourself, if you can, at least for me, when I can sort of invite another couple of energies in to sort of bring the joy in and to also speak it out loud, it can be really beneficial. Because I think a lot of times what happens is we want to co-create something, but there's also a frequency of fear that is inside of us that is afraid that if we don't create what we are setting out to, then we fail, and we don't want people to see us fail. So if we can separate co-creating in our highest good or for our best selves from the sort of 3D version of goal setting or SMART goals and all of those things. And those aren't wrong, right? Like there's a lot of overlap in those things, but they can also be limiting, because I feel that we're going into a time on our planet. I think I've said this before, and I'll probably would just always keep saying this, where we might be, some of you might be out there going, what is my soul's purpose? I think that we're sort of, and this kind of came through the other day, we're like hitting this point in frequency or in energy where some of us are sort of, we'll just say beyond, not in like a cool way or a more high vibrational way. Some of us are here to maybe work in energy fields that are unknown, because we're merging different frequencies with earth frequencies, which means we're entering into a field of the unknown. So even the beings don't know what it is, because we've never brought these two different energies together. And so what is possible, we can't even fathom with our human brains. So sometimes even by setting a goal, which of course we still need to do, is almost limiting in and of itself. So when we can release expectation around this goal that we're setting and leave a lot of room for something more than what we think we're trying to co-create, we could really surprise ourselves. And then also to understand that we're trying to bring things into form from vibrational fields, which are created from our thoughts and our beingness, right? And even our beliefs, whether they're known or unknown. And then we're sort of placing that out into a space, and then we're hoping, and really sort of like what Sharon does is like focus on it and brings it into her every day, and then sort of lets it form. And then as it starts forming, it's like we can start walking into it. And then while there are bits and pieces of it, it's like there, and we can kind of like start moving it around. And then I encourage a lot of people, there's this sort of idea that I think it's beneficial that while we want things to happen really quickly, there's also a lot of benefit for things to start building slowly too, right? So it means that something that's like a larger project might actually take time and need time to fully like create itself, but that doesn't mean that the people that show up or the tools or the inspiration or the desires that you need to sort of put that energy out there to create it won't happen sort of instantaneously. So I think that there's this like balance, because some of it, sometimes we're being asked to go on a path that like the path itself is the co-creation, not the thing that we think it is. Does that make sense? So like the
Yeah.
project itself is just a point that we're sort of like pointing our ship to, but the
Yeah.
actual act of co-creating is everything that happens between this point and that point.
Oh, totally. Totally. Because there's no end. There's no end to it, even when we leave this life. Yeah. I remember St. Germain 20 years ago, 15 years ago, when I was working with ascended masters, different ascended masters at that time. And I'm like, when am I going to get there? When am I going to get to that, wherever I'm supposed to be,
Are we
wherever I'm
there
supposed
yet?
to be?
Are we there yet? Are we
Are we
there
there
yet?
yet?
Are we there yet?
I know, right? And they're like, where is there? What do you mean? And he's like, this is, don't be so quick, paraphrasing, don't be so quick to dismiss the journey. Okay. because there's really is no there, right?
Yeah.
It's the journey, just like you said, it's the journey. It's what you learn along the way, and what you as you set those goals, or whatever you want to call them, what we want to bring into our life. It's just the one part of the whole trip. Yeah, so that's very cool. uh I see someone in the room named Jen. Did we okay, do you know who
I
that
know
is?
there's a Glenn here.
Glenn. Yes, Glenn is here. Hello,
Hmm.
Glenn. um
Glenn wrote
okay,
us a poem.
anyway, so there's lots going on in the galactic world. We've manifestation, yeah, it's happening very quickly, more and more every day, and I would imagine people will understand that. Or for those of you that are watching, I know you're very in tune, okay, or you wouldn't be here. So yeah, there's a lot going on. We in the galactic world, we Ashley and I just chat a little bit about the whistleblowers that testified to Congress. There was a congressional hearing on that in the UFO, UAP, extraterrestrial world, whatever you want to call it. And so, pretty exciting because, and I believe this has happened since we met last, because there was a few whistleblowers. I didn't watch the whole thing. I just watched clips of it, but a few people who work at the Pentagon, I believe, or in those areas, who had information that we, our shadow governments, or governments, who whatever, are have known for a very long time that extraterrestrials are on this planet or have visited this planet, and they have crashed spacecraft that they are back engineering. um, and is what this one gentleman named Roush, I think his name is, I forget, oh gosh. uh, Anyway, someone that's watching may know more than me, but it's really exciting stuff. And he has David Roosh, or Grush, I think. Anyway, yeah, he also talked about that people have been silenced, that have tried to come forward, hurt, and even killed for doing so, trying to do so. He said that. Yeah. So it's pretty exciting stuff. I mean, that this is coming out into, I guess that's mainstream, the word is getting out, that type of thing. I don't know any news outlets that cover it. If anyone covers it in a news outlet, it's probably pretty short. But it's not that we need to trust the government to know that there are star beings around us, and that they've been on this planet for a long time. But it is nice to have that confirmation for those that already know, right? That's the way I see it. Okay, maybe I wasn't so crazy after all, Okay. So I wrote some stuff down here that what I've learned, or thought might be interesting to bring to this show, since we've talked last. And there's probably, I know there's a lot we haven't, that I won't, that I don't even remember. But there's just a lot going on. uh, okay, let's see here. Oh, yes. There was actually, before I share this next thing on my list, what about you with the hearing? You had mentioned it. So what did you take from it?
Oh, I don't want to say nothing, but nothing. But I did I mean, I'm glad to see it out there. I did have somebody in one of my courses post a video. He happens to be traveling in the UK right now. And so it was on a newsstand, and it said he just wrote in there from a newspaper here in the UK. The article inside talked about the US hearings and went into some detail from a very matter-of-fact kind of approach, and just sort of like on the front cover, it says the search for UFOs, and it was in their like big weekend edition of like the UK.
Nice.
So I think that it's pretty cool. I also always encourage, and this is just because I also come from, while I don't pay too much attention to the news right now, I do come from a background in my previous, this lifetime being a documentary photographer, and working with a lot of other photographers. And I used to listen to like Al Jazeera and French 24 and a bunch of different news stations that are outside of the US, so that you can sort of start filtering different perspectives of what's going on. So I always encourage people to kind of like not just, I mean, yeah, look at what's being told to the average person here, but also look outside to other news stations and other like news media out like internationally, so that you can kind of see what their perspective is on us and what's going on over here, because it always adds a different, just a different little bit of a different lens, because everything is about power and relationship and what they want to see, and also project to their own sort of society. So
yeah, it's nice to be able to look at yourself from another perspective, ourself being the United States, or if we're in those that are watching in the States, or it's nice to have that outside perspective for sure. So yeah, it's also this David Grush, I think his name is, there's already been people coming out from the Pentagon and in government that are saying, trying to debunk everything he's brought forward. And he's apparently the main whistleblower that talked to Congress in the hearing. There was others, but there's been a couple of people that have come out from the Pentagon still trying to squash those stories. Any kind of whistleblower or truth teller, I don't know, but these people are risking their lives by coming forward. They're risking a lot by coming forward. So I don't know, it's kind of, why would they do this? Why would they make something up? He apparently has a lot of evidence. So, and I find him credible. I haven't seen the others, but why would they do this if it wasn't something that they wanted to release to us? And it's time anyway. Okay, so that's what I keep getting. And I did do a question and answer session with my personal Galactic Star Being Council, not SEL, but CIL. So I will share that in a little bit. But what I got, I wanted to show this video, which was really kind of creepy. All right, now a couple of videos. One is slowed down too. You may have heard about the Republican leader Mitch McConnell, who was talking to the press and froze for about 30 seconds. With his eyes didn't even blink. Did you hear about that, Ashley? Okay, it was pretty weird. So I want to show you something that I think is, and the reason I'm showing it is because it looks like to me, well, I'll just show it to you and then tell you what I think it is, because I believe it does have to do with extraterrestrials. All right. All right. So let's see here. It's pretty weird. First of all, I do believe that a lot of what we're seeing is some kind of a movie. We all know that people on TV can be not what they appear to be, correct? But we agree on that.
yes.
I hope we would agree on that. Yeah. All right. So I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to show you 3 versions of this, or not versions, but different angles kind of thing. So this is one. where I found the full video. Okay. Can you see that?
Yes. Can you make it bigger? Oh, yeah. Okay. Make it bigger.
All right.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. We're on a path to finishing the NDA this week. It's been good bipartisan
Watch this woman in green.
and a string of
Okay, Mitch. Anything else you want to say, or should we just go back to your office? Do you want to say anything else to the press?
Go ahead, John.
I'll take it back. Let's go back to you.
Go ahead, John.
Okay, so that's the video there, and I'm going to show another shortened clip of it that's kind of weird. Now, before I do that, if there's any hypnosis people who know about hypnosis in the audience that are watching now or after, you know that you can give someone a touch or a tap or something like that and put them in a hypnotic trance if you've suggested this kind of thing. Okay. I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm just saying it's weird. And he did not blink for about 30 seconds, which that's pretty unnatural, right? Okay. So I'm going to start this right here. Let me share it first. Okay, I think this is the one. This one. Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay, this one.
this week. Been good bipartisan cooperation and a string
I see the woman taps his hand. She taps it twice.
Wait, it's not. Is it playing for you? Because it's not playing for here.
Oh, okay.
this week.
Whatever
Yes.
that you're sharing is not playing. But I hear it playing somewhere on your screen, but just not what you're sharing with us.
Okay.
And I want to watch it.
Okay. Let me find it. Figure out what's. All right, I'm gonna download it. See if that. All right, let me stop the share and try again. Okay. Yeah, I hear it too.
Mm. Mm.
All right, just 1 second. Sorry, peeps. I thought I could get it to play. It was on Facebook, and maybe it won't play on Facebook. Let me try it one more time, okay?
Okay.
Then I'll see if I can get it from download. And I'll just tell you if I can't bring it up, then I'll just tell you what I see.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so you see that?
Yes. Okay.
All right, so
This week has been good bipartisan cooperation and a string of
she taps him again. Okay. Now I'm going to bring up another one that's in slow motion. Now watch her hand. Okay, can you see it?
Yes.
Okay. Do you see how long those fingers are?
So it's not playing. Whatever you're saying now is not playing again. We're still on the last one, or
Okay.
unless sorry.
That's okay. It's not your fault.
But I I like
Yeah,
it.
I probably, this is different than Zoom, so I'm just trying to get used to it. All right, let me try it here. All right, can you see that?
Yes.
Look at her fingers.
Yeah.
Do you see her hand? Do you
Yeah.
see how long those fingers are compared to the other hand? Um, it's kind of weird.
It's kind of weird that somebody's reaching out to touch him in the first place.
Well, yeah, totally, because
No,
he
I
was
just mean in general, he already started his like speech or to start talking, right? Like there's no reason to touch anybody unless you're gonna, hand them something, and she doesn't hand him anything.
right. She's touching him, and it looks like she turned him off, kind of thing. So said with that touch, I mean, there was something weird about that whole thing, and those fingers are really weird. And and then he just stops right there. It's kind of weird, kind of creepy. But those fingers look like a gray alien's fingers to me, a hand. And it reminded me 20 years ago when I was having all kinds of weird visions about our future on the planet and things like that, where I saw a clear vision, just as clear as I see everything here, of Hillary Clinton standing on a stage or something, and there was two gray beings standing next to her. And this is when I first started remembering extraterrestrials and things like that. There was two gray beings standing next to her, and they were holding hands, and they had their hands up like in a celebration or something. I didn't know what it meant, but it told me that there are definitely gray beings that are infiltrated in our government, or that some of them are, that kind of thing. That was the sense I got about it. And so anyway, I don't know, conspiracy theory, whatever you want to call it, I don't doubt any of the fact that there are extraterrestrials already in our government. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to infiltrate something, you're not going to infiltrate general humanity. I mean, you might also do that, but
Yeah.
you know.
Right. Well, yeah, but you're going to go for the top.
Yeah, I mean,
Whatever you want to call the top.
I mean,
yeah.
we do the same thing, right? Like if we're gonna try and take out a hive or something, you get rid of the queen or move the queen or something like that. We're not like, let's just get rid of the worker bees.
Yeah. Right. You go to the queen, you kill the queen. Yeah, totally. So anyway, I just thought that was really interesting. Yeah. What do you think?
It made me, I was watching it and it made me feel like sad. Like
Same here.
I almost wanted to watch just the regular one again. because I wasn't getting that he was having a stroke or anything, or that he was the quote unquote bad guy, right? But that something
This could be-
clearly is happening, and then so are the other people. So then I was trying to understand like who is in on it, and were the people around him that were they just cleaning up and like just whatever was going to happen, or were they also in on it, and in on what,
Yeah.
and what was he about to talk about, like specifically. And
Yeah.
I like how the news was trying to paint it, as the news does, is that because people like that are giving speeches in front of people, they don't get nervous, right? And so like this is just like normal for them. So if like he forgot what he was going to say or something like that happened, there would be other sort of movements and other things that would be going on with his central nervous system, not just a total freeze. And I really like your hypnosis sort of theory. I think that's great.
Clone malfunction. Yeah, because anyone who reports on or tells their story of being involved with the gray aliens knows that they are able to put us in a hypnotic trance, hypnotic state, that kind of thing, freeze us, I guess you could say. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And basically also where we don't remember anything, that type of thing. So it's pretty crazy. And then I have to think, okay, is this also part of the disclosure?
Yeah, I mean, what part of the disclosure? Like just that we're seeing it, that they're letting us, quote unquote, whoever the hell they are letting us.
Right. Right. Yeah. Is it part of the, yeah, allowing us to see it, or maybe they're getting bolder where they don't care, that kind of thing, getting that type, if you want to look at the negative and the positive ETs in that manner. I like that clone malfunction. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. That's funny. Yeah. I've been told I have clones 20 years ago when I was in the programs I was in. So I don't doubt that there are definitely clones, especially people in top positions. Yeah, Mike, thanks. It looked like a hypnotic type of touch to me. Yeah, to shut them up, I guess. Why? Who knows?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering about too.
Yeah.
'Cause I just always want to know why.
Right. Who knows? Yeah. Well, is there a way
That's a
for
great
us
question.
yeah, really.
Sharon, you're the specialist.
Well, yes, in certain levels, yes, I would say. Just number one is always have discernment and question everything type of deal, and be awake to, how do I say it, be awake to your surroundings, to who you are, that type of thing. And when you're hypnotized, like in a session or something like that, you can always pull yourself out of it. You can come out of it. Okay. Now with the gray beings or the extraterrestrial beings that do hypnotize you, that it's a more nefarious type of deal, where it's they're experts at it, at putting us in these types of mind wipe trances. So you can tell yourself, I will remember this, I will remember this, I will remember this, that type of deal as well. That, what I understand is, that helps. But I wouldn't worry about it happening like it happened to Mitch McConnell too much. I don't know, unless you're a
I gotta
contactee.
practice on somebody.
I know, right?
They have to practice on the worker bees before they go to the
That's true. That's true.
higher ups.
But what can you do? I just find that the more you are aware and awake of everything this, and that's part of my Galactic Council's information. Oh yes, that's a good question for them as well. Talk to your galactic peeps too about that, because they will let you know. So yeah, but that's I have kind of information like that. I mean, we're hypnotized all the time by watching TV.
Oh, for
We're
sure.
sitting in a hypnotic state. That's what we're doing. So to avoid being hypnotized is not put yourself in that position, but also know that you're always in control. You are in control of your own mind. Once we become in control of our own mind, have discernment, that type of thing, and know that nothing outside of us has all the answers anyway, then it's a lot harder to be hypnotized. Is my take on it. What about you, Ashley? That's a really good question.
Well, what this is making me wonder is what part of him has given permission for this to happen, and is there like a sort of background negotiation? Because sometimes when we sort of team up with other beings or entities, maybe we can, I mean, this is why when I am asked to when I reach particular choice points in my life or receive invitations, which I know are going to lead to initiations, or I know that this is a choice point that's being asked of me, I have like a lot of questions. We sort of have to have like a powwow, because it needs, like, whatever this choice is, whatever I'm going, whatever beings or entities or whatever, like, I'm teaming up with, that has, like, it has to align with what I am here to do, et cetera, et cetera. But I want to, like, I want to know, like, I need to hear words like partnership and not contract and things like that. However, maybe, so I'm just wondering if maybe they're like, he's in, I don't know, somehow wound up with these energies, and that there's a part of him that has given over control. And maybe if he's given over some of that control, it was maybe for a different reason or something, or he's involved in it, doesn't know he's involved in it. I don't know. It just makes me very concerned about what's going on. And I think about all these Republican and what, like, you would think that, I don't know. I don't know.
I don't think. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not sure it has to do with the party. I believe it happens in all parties, in both parties. Yeah. And again, what I saw 20 years ago, it makes so much. I was seeing a lot of this already. That's just my take on it. I don't believe that is. I believe he's a clone, like Mike said. I do believe that that Mitch McConnell is not. I don't believe that's the real McConnell.
Okay.
That's just my take on it. And I believe that a lot of people have come out of Hollywood even saying they have clones, that type of thing. So if you got the money, why not? Right? They're doing all
I
kinds
see.
of
So,
different.
like, they're aware that they have a clone, which then means that they're, I don't know, it's like they're in bed with if you're in bed with nefariousness and you're trying to get it, like, I don't want a clone. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I
Like,
guess it'd be like an avatar.
right, but it's like, but are you controlling it, or is somebody else creating it so that you can get twice as much work done or something? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Or is it from another experience that you're bringing in? I don't know. I just have a lot of questions. But as far as like being hypnotized, I think it brings in, like, what is hypnosis? And as far as deep hypnosis, I agree with everything that you say. And of course, the beings could hypnotize us. I'm sure our higher selves, like when we go into extreme shock and we're still somehow alive, we do all kinds of things. Our body sets off all kinds of signals. You could say that we're hypnotized so that we can sort of go into a survival state. So these buttons exist within us if we can consciously push them. yeah, I mean, the power of suggestion is massive. And I think it can be fun. I have a friend that is like plays video games and is super aware of all of the programming that is like happening in it. So if you're going to interact with this stuff, definitely be aware of the programming and kind of look to see where the programming is with a lot of movies too, especially when you go into theaters. I can't remember. There was a movie that I haven't been to a movie theater and I don't know how long, but somebody was talking about some movie and they were just the same person. He was like, I just felt like the energy is coming out to like program the people that were in it. And I'm just like, Jesus. And I
Yeah,
think that that's the stuff that's happening all the time.
definitely. It's been happening it happens with TV.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, with television. It's been happening since they invented TV,
Yeah.
pretty much. Because it said, what I heard was it's at a certain flicker rate. The lights in the TV is at a certain flicker rate that causes you to be in that highly suggestible state, which would be hypnosis.
Right. That's why we see food on TV and our mind is like, oh, I want popcorn.
There you go. Yeah,
Or I
really.
want cake, or I want to order pizza, or something like that. I feel like it's really beneficial to understand the difference between a want, a need, and a desire. And then to begin really understanding what your ego is kind of doing. And my perspective of the ego is maybe different than a lot of people's. I don't feel like we're here to kill it. I feel like it's a part of being a human and that we're here being human. And it's an innate part of this body, but that it is also trying to keep us alive and safe. And a lot of that is coming from our like wounded parts of us and inner children and sort of like this child, like it's like a toddler is really what's going on in our ego. So if the child inside of us or this little part of us or some wounded part of us wants chocolate cake or wants something, like we don't have to act on it. We can be the divine parent that's like, let's not have cake right now. But maybe we're not even hungry.
Yeah.
Right. I just find like asking questions around everything. Sorry, Mahana apparently agrees. She's like, yeah,
what? Chocolate cake?
around everything. And did somebody say popcorn?
Somebody's saying popcorn, chocolate cake? What are you talking about? You can't have chocolate cake or popcorn.
Which sometimes this is totally off track, but since Mahana's over here yapping, is I haven't had popcorn in a long time, but I have it in the house. I was literally laying there one time and I was like watching a show and I'm just like, God, I feel like having popcorn. I really want popcorn. And I look over because I can all of a sudden I start feeling her and she's just so intensely staring at me,
Staring at you.
like transmitting, I want popcorn. So then I feel that I need popcorn so that I don't make it. So don't give it to her. And I looked at her and I was like, you will not Jedi mind trick me.
That's
That's
what
really
they do.
great and powerful. So I'm going to wait 15 minutes and make some because I appreciate the gift.
See, there you go. That's how you do not become hypnotized. Willpower.
But then I had to reward her because that was some really amazing Jedi mind tricks, which I've seen her do with people, but like it doesn't ever work on me. But because I was probably getting hypnotized by one thing and not paying attention, there was something that was coming in the side door.
Yeah, well, she worked on me when you would bring her to the fair. She would work on me for treats. She'd just sit there and stare at me, and I heard her say, "Give me a treat."
Yeah,
get me a treat. Find some way to get me a treat.
like knock popcorn, like when we would go after like the channeling group things that we did, and like Sabella's all of a sudden popcorn's like flying out of her hands, and like she's not doing it on purpose, but Mahana's like there, and all of a sudden food is flying everywhere, and I'm like, you guys,
that's funny.
Together.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
So I wanted, hopefully that answers your question, Tisha. Yeah, we need to be in control of our mind for sure.
It's distraction, right? Like we get distracted by things, and I think all of us kind of needs to be in one direction, but we're so programmed, right, to be distracted that we can become hypnotized. I encourage everybody, the next time you want to buy something, ask yourself a lot of questions as to why you want to buy the thing, and why that thing, and why that brand. Because there's been all kinds of studies on this. And this is a form of hypnosis, while it's not necessarily gray alien level. It's we're really programmed to buy things that like our friends have or that our neighbors have, and we tell ourselves that we're in control of it, but we're not. We say that we've done research, but we haven't. We've just talked to a few people. Right? Not all the time, but
I do a lot of research on important purchases.
Right.
Yeah. It doesn't mean that it ends up being the best the best purchase. And if it goes wrong, it's like, I did all the research.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. So yeah, that's good stuff. And I don't know, that was just so creepy to me and weird. But I think that it's another part of the disclosure, whether it was intentional or not. Okay. I'm feeling that to show that there are, and that was one of my questions, that there are some kind, that there's some type of, whether they're extraterrestrials or not, what's the word I'm trying to think of? Control going on in our governments, that type of thing, against people's will, perhaps. Yeah. I don't know. And I agree with you. Mitch McConnell probably made this agreement in a soul contract kind of thing, or soul agreement, partnership.
Or maybe something came and like offered this thing. I feel like that, like where power corruption is. And I'm not saying, I have no idea, right? But I'm just wondering.
Who knows?
Because I want to know like what is maybe in our field that maybe we all can't be turned on by this. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a soul contract, because I think that we're kind of constantly making contracts. And I think this is how the reptilian consciousness really functions, and why a lot of companies or people, right, that are coming out with the same ideas, but one of them, and sure, you could maybe tear it apart and be like, well, their business or this, but they have funding, right? So it's like if a reptilian sort of energy comes in and is like, hey, we're going to support you and give you this, but you have to give us this. And then essentially you're just selling your soul, and you'll have a lot of money, but then you never really, Yeah,
you don't understand.
Or maybe you do eventually, but that's not even about
No,
that.
right.
But
You don't understand with this wave
Yeah.
wave right now. Yeah, it's going to take probably another 26,000 years. And then, hopefully you can do it then. Your soul will do it then. Because we're on that timeline of the 26,000 cycle. And what my information is telling me. Anyway, so, I mean, everyone will eventually, sooner or later. I sat with my galactic council, my personal galactic council.
Yeah, let's hear it. I want to hear the message.
All right. So, and I just ask questions. And for anyone who wants to do this, I would highly suggest this is what you do. You just trust what you get. And the more you do it, the more you'll trust it. And just get into a meditative state, hypnotic trance state, or a meditative state.
Get into a state of hypnosis, which is a thing that we don't want, but sometimes we do.
If it's for good, not for evil, but for good. Okay. Use your powers for good. Always use your powers for good. Okay. All right. So my first question was, oh, wait, I'll tell you how I knew I was with them. Ooh, I'm feeling it already. When I sit and ask for any beings to join me, I feel their energy come in, and I'm flooded with love, flooded with feelings of love and caring, and we're here type of thing. Okay. Thank you and it's gratitude. Thank you for calling on us, that type of thing. And And I'm feeling it now as I'm talking about. So, and I also see in my mind's eye, I also see in my mind's eye my beings with me. Okay. And they sit around me. So my first question was, is extraterrestrial disclosure really happening as we speak? And I get a yes. Okay. And I also asked, can we trust the whistleblowers that came forward? And I got a yes. I also asked, when will full disclosure happen, where full quotes, where the government and the MSM will be talking freely about extraterrestrials, that type of thing, what we're talking about. And what I got was, in different sectors, in various sections, end of year 2023 and 2024 and moving forward. That's not that far off. I mean, well, we see it happening pretty quickly. I asked, are extraterrestrials walking among us on the planet now? And I got a resounding yes. Resounding. And I asked, are the negative extraterrestrials, have they been defeated? Because I've heard they have, and banned from our solar system. I got a yes. However, there are pockets on Earth where these beings, I had to write really fast, these beings that, pockets on Earth, still pockets on Earth, the beings that surrounded the planet and that were burrowed deep within, have been removed and dealt with. I heard, oh yeah, the extraterrestrials that surrounded the planet, not necessarily on the planet, and burrowed deep within the planet, have been removed and dealt with, so to speak. But there are still pockets on the planet, is what I got, of negative beings. What can we as humans do to help with the disclosure and bringing through the positive extraterrestrials, helping with the positive part of this? I got use discernment with every communication, go within to foster your own connection, and rely on your own intuition, and help others to foster their intuition, and to foster and trust their intuition and discernment, and yes, to use their discernment. There will be many scenarios that will play out meant to create fear. It is important to keep all beings, keep your frequency high as much as possible, and stay in love and faith. And then this got really intense. You have entered the pinnacle of what you call the Great Awakening. Being asleep or sleep is no longer an option for the beings who have come to your planet, what you term as light bearers. Bringing in what you call the Christed self is paramount. And so much more than you see or discern is happening behind the scenes of this quote unquote movie. And that was it. That's a nice stop. Got interrupted, kind of, sort of.
Were you
Thoughts?
distracted, Sharon?
I got distracted.
I'm just kidding.
And they can only tell us what we ask. Sometimes we don't ask the right questions, but or thoughts?
Yeah, I do feel this has nothing to do with anything that you just said, but
Okay.
no, I mean, this isn't related to you, but I do feel that there is a sort of balance in what they are able to tell us, right? Because if sort of the underlying message is to stay in your divinity and to stay in your higher frequency and to sort of create space, like don't in your own energy field sort of remove that which fear can attach to, right? If that's
Right.
like a lot of what the message is, then I think that our sort of soul's guidance system or our team or our whatever, our guides can't necessarily, like the way that they communicate with us has to kind of align with what they know we can sort of handle without it. It's like watching a scary movie. If you don't like scary movies, like those images get like really imprinted in our
Yeah,
minds. We can't get
totally.
rid of them, which then goes against what we're trying to co-create. So I feel like sometimes they have to, like, they're always sort of holding this balance between telling us something in a direct way and then telling us sort of what if we don't do this, X, Y, and Z is going to happen, because we need to sort of make choices based on what our heart wants and where we're guided, not making a choice avoiding the bad thing that might happen. Right. So it's always fascinating just to sort of hear how they, so that's what I mean. Like, this isn't a comment about everything that you just said. But I like what you just said.
Yeah, I agree. I agree that with that. Definitely. It's they, they say to stay away from fear. They don't want to tell us anything that would put us in fear, because that's what I got was there is so much more going on behind the scenes than
Mm-hmm.
you are able to see, kind of thing. And they called it a movie. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and we know that our soul knows that. It's just that our human here, we're playing a role within a movie, right? We're in the movie. And uh, yeah, so
Mm.
in that message of keeping your frequency high, I believe comes through, like you said, all the time, because, or a lot, because it's so important. It's so important, and I know that because I just do. I mean, we have to, in order to keep or stay in those, in our higher frequencies, we have to make sure that we do the work, of course. Yeah, and that, and that's part of the deal. But and that's what I got. And help others. Help others. Oh, yeah, Mahana. Was that Mahana or yeah, okay. She just put an exclamation point on what I said. So what's this, Mike? Let me see here. Could you ask your galactic friends if they could come and put out the forest fires around the world? Show up, make themselves visible, put the fires out, and then that way they can be seen in a positive light. Well, I wish it was that easy. We're they aren't allowed. You probably know this. And Ashley, where'd you go?
I'm here. Sorry, I have a house guest, and so the dogs needed to go away.
Oh, okay.
And that person
So
walked into the house, so I'm
they're
sorry.
not allowed to come down and clean up our messes. Okay. We've been told, and I've been told this for a long time too, is that we clean up our own messes. It's our job to clean up our own messes, kind of thing. They will help us in support, but they're not going to come down and clean up things for us, clean up our messes.
But I think that's a really good idea. I mean, so keep thinking, Mike, because I do
Sure.
feel that a lot of things, and so this was a recent experience I had. There's the land that I grew up on had a bunch of like horrific, like negative portals that were sort of open, but I was like in it when I was like a baby and little, so it's not like I knew. And I wasn't like a 6 or 7 year old out there battling the demons. I was just like, what is going on? And there's also a lot of really good stuff there that was also very much protecting me. But later in life, I saw this very clearly, and I had to ask, and there was a particular faction of dragon beings. They told me not to worry about it, but as a human, I had to ask for the help for these beings to go and take care of it. And there was so much cleanup that needed to happen over there. But it wasn't necessarily, I mean, there were portals that were open, multidimensional things, and they were just like, don't worry about it. But I needed to very clearly ask. So I do feel that brainstorming on how we can ask beings to kind of show up or help support us, for whatever, to heal the land or to heal something. And sometimes when things are human caused, we can ask, but I sort of feel sometimes we also maybe have to show up. And at the same time, because your question was about forest fires, right? Depending on how that forest fire was caused, right? And or is that desirable for the earth? Like, because if it's earth caused, like maybe the earth is doing some clearing herself, so it wouldn't be great to, like, then the galactics definitely aren't going to necessarily get involved, right? Because I feel that the earth and the galactics are really in communication. So to me, when I see those things in the cornfields,
Crop circles.
when I see crop circles, to me, crop circles are either galactic made or earth made, and their communication that is coming from the earth to the stars or coming from the stars to the earth. And they're also healing which I think we can all agree that they're healing frequencies for us, for the stars, and also for the earth. And that's why they're coming out of the earth body or are imprinted into the earth body. So the whole point of saying all of this is that I think that there's, again, as Sharon's being so nicely said, there's a lot of things that are going on in the background, but we can also get involved and do some brainstorming and think, because a lot of times, in some cases, all we have to do is ask.
Yeah. And what I got as you were talking too, after Mike asked, the question is also to communicate to the earth, the elementals, the earth beings as well, that you would probably get a better response from the earth beings as a team to help with forest fires and things like that. Anything that has to do with the planet, the earth, Terra.
The next question might be, what about that UFO footage where you see the UFOs putting out some missile that's going to go up or off? Like, you've seen them, right?
Oh yeah, they shoot down.
They'll shoot down things, or they'll stop something from going off. And usually they'll get involved in those cases because we're doing something that we don't quite realize that we're doing, where we're about to destroy a whole bunch.
That's different. When it's our own mess on our planet, where we're not going to be creating havoc in all the dimensions, but across dimensions. Also, I know I've seen video of like what are they called? Weapons. I think it's called a DEW weapon. I can't think of the name of it. I don't even want to talk about it, but I have to look it up. What does it do? You know what I'm talking about? Where a beam of light.
Weapons of mass destruction, DEW. What is that?
Oh my God, I'm drawing a blank.
I don't know. Are you getting hypnotized? Direct energy.
Direct energy weapon. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
Good job, Mike. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. I figured you would know that, Mike. All right. So, right. WMD. Yeah. I've seen them, and I also saw one in an out-of-body experience I had that took out a building. So, and that was very real. And I've seen them in videos, and I saw this type of thing 20 years ago in my visions as well. But there's those types of deals too that galactic, and I don't know if those are galactic, if those are bad extraterrestrials, if they're humans or both. But I haven't heard anything about them in a while, but who knows? If
I
they can be starting forest fires too, right?
well, sure. I have heard lots of things about how reptilians and all kinds of stuff are starting forest fires. I don't get involved too much in that, but I just have friends and people, right? Because it's like we've always been able to control the weather, which is part of how we destroyed Atlantis and all of these other things. And
Sure.
we start getting involved, and then or we start taking direction from energies that we shouldn't be taking direction from. And there's all kinds of theories out there about what is going on, but that is not what I wanted to talk about. What I wanted to say is I would always assume that it's both and, right? Like, are those the bad guys or the good guys? It's going to be both and, because that's where the confusion is, right? Because the first thing that humans tend to do, and this is what happened with dragon energies, which do not share the same DNA as reptilian energies, but they look, I mean, they do not feel the same at all, but they look the
Right.
same. Right.
Right.
So we're
Right.
going to have that fear that's really programmed into us, all the way from like fear of snakes to any sort of reptile energy in our own reptilian brain. What happens is we shut it all off, and then we have this energy of fear, and then we start to fear dragons, and then we just cut dragons out and there's a reason that they look similar. So we're being asked to discern and to stand in our power and to make choices. So sure, the bad guys and the good guys, and who's bad and who's good, and maybe it's both of everything, and that's sort of what we're supposed to be in, so we can discern what's right for us in the moment.
Yeah. I mean, it's good and bad is
Right.
perspective, and also, yeah, totally. And we live in a realm of duality, in a universe of a duality universe, I guess. So we got to have one to have the other. That's what we chose. And speaking of Atlantis, I feel very strongly, and I've gotten this information, and that was some of the memories that came to me in the very beginning, 20 years ago, was Atlantean memories, that we are coming full circle from Atlantis so that we can correct what happened in Atlantis, correct a lot of that. And I sat in front of my council in an out-of-body experience, and we talked about that. This is before I even realized what was going on. And I said, well, you're back to correct things that happened in Atlantis. And I don't remember the exact language, I'm paraphrasing. And I was in front of these human and extraterrestrials sitting in front of me. And I said, what happened in Atlantis? They looked at each other, because I wasn't awake at that time, but to a lot of stuff. But I was still having these really intense out-of-body experiences. And they looked at each other and they said, well, let's just say it wasn't good.
Right, because they don't need you to worry about one more thing to be afraid of. Let's just say it wasn't good.
They didn't want to, they couldn't, if anyone's read the Law of One, any of the Law of One books, they can't mess with our free will, our journey of making choices and learning on what we chose, how, and timelines and things that happen around us. And the same thing with the forest fires, that can be our journey, humanity, the collective's journey, to work on how we can take care of that, because they are not allowed to. The prime directive is real. According to what I know, they're not allowed to interfere with those types of things. They can interfere if outside extraterrestrials interfere with our positive or negative, with our normal, if anyone's watched Star Trek, this, with our normal evolution, the way we need to evolve. So that's why they had to, or did involve themselves with the reptilian beings and the other gray type beings. That's what I understand. The Borg type, the hive mind of the gray beings, the Borg type, cyborg type. The Borg always scared me to like crazy in the Star Trek episodes and in movies. It always like scared me to no end. Now I know why. Did you ever watch any Star Trek shows or anything?
No,
No?
my stepmom did, so I saw like a couple. They were just sort of like there, but I don't know. All I know
Okay.
is I liked the guy with the glasses.
Jordy?
I don't even know what his name is. So
Yeah, that's all right. I can't talk to you about Star Trek. Okay, so never mind. Okay.
sorry. But I'm sure everybody
That's
else
okay.
here knows what you're talking about.
Maybe. Yeah. Anyway, so I'm a Trekkie. I'm a Star Wars and a Star Trek tre- you know, fanatic because of my history. Anyway, okay. Anything else, Ashley?
No, but I want to circle back to the Lionscape, I guess, before we get off. Glenn
Yeah.
wrote a poem when we first got on, and I just wanted to read it because it also touches on something else that I wanted to talk about the Lionscape very briefly. So
Who
Glenn
wrote a
wrote,
poem?
Glenn did. Glenn wrote
Oh.
8-8 Lionsgate. I appreciate my past desert fate. I allow the sunrise to instigate my divine calling. Rising with higher sound, feelings abound with active joy. The fire inspires the Phoenician light. So, yay, Glenn! Thank you for
Oh,
sharing
Glenn,
that
that's
with us.
beautiful.
One of
Yeah.
the things that the beings frequently talk about in terms of the Lionsgate is that it is also an opportunity to access any past lifetimes that are available that you might have that are connected to Egypt, because the Lionsgate energy is really like that gateway. If it had a specific place on Earth, it's of course it's like beyond that one gateway, but it really is very much part of the Sirius and then the Orion Belt and the pyramids in Egypt. And so it's an invitation to go back to revisit any lifetimes where you would like to maybe call in gifts. And a lot of the abundance frequencies come from the abundance part of when the desert rains happen and the Nile sort of rises. So it's an opportunity to connect with that part of the world, to go into past lives, to heal parts that need to be healed, and then to call forward any gifts that you need. And then you can also, I don't know, just feel into that energy and to maybe power structures. And you can always connect through Egypt into Atlantis, since there's a lot of correlation. But yeah, they talk about that a lot. So it's an opportunity for that, while you're also calling in prosperity and setting intention about what you want to like bring in or co-create.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we can co-create putting out forest fires.
Mm-hmm.
Focus on that. Don't focus on, yeah, and that goes along with focusing on what you do want, what we do want, not what we don't want. Not focusing on the what we consider to be negative. Focus on the positive. Focus on seeing the forest fires extinguished. That's what I was taught, is just to see everything whole. Yeshua taught me see everything whole and new and renewed. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
not the other way around. Because this subconscious can't tell the difference, whether it's good or bad, and whether it's happening in our body or it's happening. The subconscious sees it as happening where our mind is, because that's what we are, is our mind. So that's important stuff. All righty. Thank you everyone for being here. And thank you everyone for watching
Yeah.
after the fact.
Yeah.
Happy Lions Gate once more.
Do you have anything coming up, Sharon?
Yeah, let's see. The next thing I have is my sister and I are doing another Orb Sisters presentation with our photos. And that is happening the end of the month, I believe.
Online?
I'll have it on my website. Huh?
Okay. Online or in person?
No, online,
Okay,
live,
cool.
live. Yeah, and that's yes, August 30th, and we pick a subject of photos with each presentation we do. This one is we're going to focus on faces and scenery in orbs in other anomalies, and not only just faces but beings, actual beings. Hey Jan, thank you. So I wonder how you got inside the
I don't
um
know over there.
this, okay, but thank you for being here.
I can't even get in the public chat, so I don't know how that works at all.
Okay, well Jan was in the studio. She's in the studio with us, so
Oh,
thank you for being here. I have that, and in September I'm doing my month-long course on psychic and mediumship development from beginning all the way to advanced types of training, and lots of practice. So I'm doing that in September. That's all I can think of right now.
okay.
What about you?
I have something called Soul Inquiry that's coming up, and it's only 4 weeks, and it's going to be starting on August 30th. So if anybody is curious about that, I encourage you to go to my website and sign up for a free 20-minute, I think it's a 20-minute session with me so we can talk about it. You don't have to. It will be up and available to purchase, I think, by tomorrow night. But basically what we're going to be doing is a lot of what Sharon was talking about, kind of about how she had a bunch of questions sort of written out ahead of time. But it's not so much about using the mind to ask questions, but I was guided a long time ago to basically do a soul inquiry practice where I'm sort of constantly asking questions and questions about questions. So that way, when I'm in an altered state of consciousness, whether it's inside of plant medicine or whether it's inside of a channeling session with beings or giving readings for people, or even if my central nervous system is being activated and it's hard for me to focus on what's going on because my body's getting activated, because of this practice and sort of way of being, questions, the right and the exact questions that I need to ask sort of come out of my body in the moment that I need them. So we're going to be spending 4 weeks working through that, working with belief systems, trying on different belief systems and sort of releasing older belief systems. So I'm really excited about it. It is not a prerequisite to my channeling course, which is 9 weeks, and it's called Sovereignty and the Sacred Art of Channeling. That will start in September, but it's highly beneficial to take before the channeling course if you are interested. So you can either reach out or wait about a day and just sign up for it. So I'm
Nice.
excited for it. Yeah.
Nice. Sounds awesome. All righty then. Thank you everyone for being here. Thank you, Ashley, for
Mhm.
playing with me again
Yeah.
tonight. Yeah. And we'll see everyone next month with more galactic updates.
Yeah. Happy Lionsgate.
Mm-hmm.